Hello, and welcome back to the world of Nima. This is a series where I walk you through my creature design project. This is the third episode. If this is your first time here, I recommend watching the first episode, which establishes the context on how this world works. Now, this next wave of Nimalings were mostly inspired by animals and plants I encountered during my field trips at the time, so they're all carboclates. Spoilers, I guess. I have always held a great love for earthlings of all shapes and sizes, especially bugs, birds, and plants. So it's only natural my first sources of inspiration will be them. I'm very lucky I've been able to travel around my country and meet all kinds of wonderful earthlings. I want to share that love and wonder I have for them through my creature designs. First up, it's a creature that made an appearance last episode, the tree that helped Nocturne. They're based on Croton magdalenensis, commonly called sangregado. They're a tree that have been very present throughout my life. As their canopy usually grows to be very wide while not being as tall, they're one of the best natural sources of shade in my city. They've given me shelter from the sun countless times, and that's not their only notable feature. If anything, it's the most mundane. Obviously their colors. They have random orange leaves speckled alongside their green leaves. There are no seasons in Colombia, so trees never change colors here. This is just them being quirky. And their seeds. Their seeds are crazy. They come in these little spherical dry fruits that after a while of getting drier and drier, explode into 6 defined pieces. They kinda look like tangerines. Each pair of segments holds one seed, which will be flung far away by the explosion. Here, I arranged the 3 seeds and the exploded fruit segments surrounding an unexploded fruit, all on top of one of their fiery red leaves. So I had to represent these 3 features in my design. The colors were easy, alternating layers of leaves from green to orange. As for the shade, their leaves grow into massive arms, which they can move to protect others from sunlight. Finally, their shoulders have an explosive seed, which they can deploy to sow the land around them with their future progeny. Number 005, Emblaze, a carboclate. Known for lovingly embracing others under their leaves, they like protecting any creature exhausted by the sun. Finding one amidst a long trek under the sun is a godsend for many. The name comes from embrace and blaze, alluding to their behavior and their fiery leaves. The next one is very special, as it is inspired by my favorite plant species of all time, the thistle, specifically their seeds. Fluffy little things that float about leisurely through the air. They're seen everywhere, oftentimes where you least expect them, in the middle of car-filled cities, weaving through buses and bicycles. Spotting one while in these places brings many such a sense of peace, a respite from the chaos of urban life. And their whimsy has been with me all my life. When I was in first grade, I liked collecting trinkets I thought looked fun, putting them in gashapon capsules, and making tiny little paper ID cards with their name, their age, their likes and dislikes. A thistle seed fluff was one of these. Thistledown is very dear to me. For the design, I wanted to give them aviator goggles to reference their airborne lifestyle. And since they're seeds, I want them to represent the idea of potential, which you'll see reflected in the lore, which also serves as a reference to the fact that for most of my life, I had no idea what plant these seed fluffs came from. It was a mystery. Number 006, Fluffy, a carboclate. Floating whimsically through the wind with their fluffy caps, these little seeds are free to explore the whole world. They store the DNA of all the creatures they meet, and after years of traveling, they will plant themselves and grow into any creature of their choosing. With the potential to be whatever they want to be, they have immense lifespans to be able to live as all the life forms their heart desires. Able to revert into seed form and grow into a different creature every 50 years. If you spot one fluttering about, it's likely they've traveled a very long way to get there. Make sure to say hi. They might have never met someone like you before. Fluffy is one of my favorite creations. I even made a plush of them. I used a little bit of thistledown along with the stuffing. It ended up being a lot bigger than I was expecting, and I struggled with the hairs, but now they're real and extra huggable. For a field trip in the sea, we were sailing on a motorboat from coast to coast. It was faster than traveling on land. At one point, we were in the middle of nowhere. No land visible anywhere. Only us, the water, and a random butterfly fluttering about above the waves with no clear destination. I was so perplexed. How long has it been flying? What are they doing in the middle of the ocean? I asked our teacher about it. He also didn't know what was going on, but he had asked the locals before, and the myth goes the butterflies fly towards the sea when they feel like they're about to die. So cool, very somber, but a very cool melancholic concept. And so, I wanted to make a seafaring butterfly, known to make extremely long cross-ocean voyages as their final flight. I made their body boat-shaped, and their antennae the frame of the ship's sail. Number 007. Seafarefly, a carboclade. If you're on a trip in the middle of the sea, you might spot one of these flying above the water, far away from any land. This is their final grandiose voyage, after which they'll become one with the sea. Some smaller creatures like to hop on them as means of transportation, but many that do have mysteriously gone missing. In this same trip, we went snorkeling off a coast. I went pretty far away from the group, to find less disturbed places and find the smallest earthlings. I stumbled on a tiny piece of transparent jelly, floating in place. It was really hard to see. I'm so glad I did, because it turned out to be a tonicate. It was dead, unfortunately, but a pelagic tonicate, free-floating in the water, filtering out food. I always wanted to see one, specifically a salp, a pelagic tonicate that attaches itself to other individuals of the species to make long strands of salp, all floating together through the ocean, an unbreakable bond. So came the idea of a group of salps that are all about friendship, of finding each other and improving their lives by being together, grabbing each other with their hugging hands. Salps that are pals. Number 008. Salpulp, a carboclade. Salpulp hug each other with their sticky pads. This allows them to drift in the ocean in a safer manner. They always have someone keep an eye out for any lonely salpulp in need of friends. Groups of salpulp can reach astronomical lengths. Salpulp was the subject of the first ever plushie I made. Not the best built, but still pretty charming. And here's a 3D model I made of them. Also on this trip, in the jungles of Chocó at night, I went exploring with the botany teacher. She got extremely excited when she found this cute little flower, almost completely transparent, with no leaves, only flowers and buds. She told me this was Sciaphila albescens, a saprophage plant. That means it's a plant that feeds on decaying plants and fungal matter. What? No leaves, no photosynthesis at all. A plant that does not need light and eats more like a mushroom, and so ghostly and ethereal looking. I knew I had to make a Nimaling out of this. Immediately, I wanted the dirt thereon to be part of the design, as that's where their food is, so have their mouths be in there. They eat more akin to us, so let's give them a tongue. Make it 3 tongues actually, to look more alien. After all, this is a plant that evolved to eat dead leaves completely independently from animals and fungi. Also, I think it's really fun to stick your tongue out. Meh. Now, for the flowers. Originally, they were gonna be blind, in reference to them not caring about light. But then the flowers almost look detached from the main body. So for the redesign, I made the first 2 flowers bigger to turn them into proper eyes. All flowers are star-shaped, and the top always has a crescent moon-shaped fruit, in reference to not caring about daylight like other plants. Number 009. Sapros. While other relatives photosynthesize, sapros go against the grain and requires no sunlight at all, instead opting to eat dead leaves and other yummy organic matter scattered on the dark forest floor. No matter how dense the foliage, you'll always be able to see stars glowing wherever sapros dwell, as their flowers shine to attract pollinators. Final one for the video is a pretty simple one. There's a shark that can be found in mangroves, the lemon shark. Could be cute to make a shark that's a literal lemon, but that's too simple. I should take the opportunity to represent a less known earthling, ichthyosaurs. ancient marine reptiles that evolved very similarly to dolphins and sharks. Some of them even have particularly paddle-shaped fins, kinda looking like lemons. Most ichthyosaurs have asymmetric tail flukes, the lower part being much bigger than the top, perfect for the leaves of the lemon. Number 010. Ichthyosaur, a carboclade. Ichthyosaurs can secrete sweet juice from their skin to attract potential prey, and if a bigger creature bothers them, they secrete sour juice instead. While their sweet juice is normally reserved for their prey, if closely bonded to other creatures, they will share it with them. Refreshing! Despite being so round and having a short snout, they are somehow very successful hunters. It's been very exciting to make these videos where I can walk you through my experiences that led me to design these guys out of love for all the beautiful things in our universe. Hope you've been enjoying it too. Feel free to like, subscribe, and comment which your favorite is. I love seeing what people think. Thanks for watching. See you in the next episode.